All right, here we are. It is time for beach season, and you may have been thinking, hey, Umbra, you're going to do the obvious thing. You're going to go with, it's the 7th month, so you're still using Final Fantasy VII music. It's got to be Costa del Sol, right? Wrong. You're wrong. Anyway, all right, so here today we are going to be talking about 2 units. We're going to be talking about, I'm making this into 2 videos to kind of split it up, and I'm trying to keep the 2 videos balanced, so I'm going to do an old EX unit, either Summer Ketone or Summer Lilith, in one of the videos with one of the 2 new units, so that kind of splits them out a little bit. These 2 videos will be coming out back to back relatively shortly of one another, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And we're going to start off with Summer Lilith. And in all honesty, it's been so long since this unit originally came to the game, and she's kind of been out of my mind for so long that I've almost essentially forgotten about her. But that doesn't mean that I haven't thought about her, because Summer Lilith is overall, a pretty strong unit. She has Ranger, Dual Gunner, Paladin. She is a fairly defensive archer character, which I think is really neat. In terms of her element, Earth is very relevant so long as FF7 is going to be haunting everyone on the JP side, and that is going to be continuing into the future. So Summer Lilith very much has a place, and if there was a character of the 2 old beach units that were to come back into being relevant, I would say that it would be Lilith more than Summer Ketone, just because of the way elements currently are. However, Summer Ketone is the fire element, so that's a thing. But yeah, Summer Lilith, an Earth Elemental range character, gets 3 upgrades. First of all, her support skill that gives her a range increase as well as an accuracy increase has now been also improved to have a defense increase and a increase to missile resistance by 15%, defense by 12. Good. I mean, Lilith is essentially, with Paladin, a more defensive range character, so I think her having access to more defense puts her a little bit more on par with what is currently expected. Also, what should be noted about her is that, if you think about if I think about 2 of the most common ranged units, for missiles, I very easily think of Frederica and Cloud. Those 2 seem to be run fairly commonly because they are pretty popular characters and people went for them, kind of thing. So yeah, having a range character that is Earth Element that can also have a little bit of missile resistance, Summer Lilith should be a force to be reckoned with if you are taking on those specific units in a team. If you're taking on wind units, I still don't think she's going to be that amazing, but, there is wind magic, and Tifa exists, and I think both of those will contend her nicely to keep her in check. Other upgrades is her big damage one, the 220% modifier, Mega Shot. First of all, no casting time anymore. Still 3 uses. It gets a little bit of a cost reduction as well as going down to 22 AP. But the big thing for me, this high-powered attack essentially gets an absorb 30% damage done, which is incredibly valuable for a unit that is defensive and a little bit more tanky and has a chance to not be one-shot. I think that this unit is, just strictly speaking, pretty damn good. I think that she will do very nicely into the future because of that. That's just great for her. She now also has, just getting my bearings. Another upgraded ability is her AoE Diamond one that is 45 AP that most people know Rangers have. That's a 100% hit chance if it wasn't already, but anyway. And next, her last one, her Job Level 25 is an AoE attack that decreases defense for the target by 30 for a single turn. And 165% modifier, pretty good. Increases her own defense by 15 for 3 turns. So yeah, overall, we're looking at roughly another 30 spirit to a already pretty physically defensive character. I think Summer Lilith is just really nice. I think that she is a check against Thunder, especially against Thunder range, which I think is super valuable. But I think she was already pretty good. And taking a look at her comparison-wise versus Frederica for power and HP, both of them seem to be very close to one another. Close enough that I feel like it's not too terribly worth discussing. I think both are comparable in terms of power, but thing is if these two were to go up against each other, I would definitely give the advantage to Lilith, just because, you know, element and whatnot. But I think that she got some really good improvements, so congratulations to her. All right, skipping up, let's talk about this character. This is the main topic, farm, or well, it's actually Furan, but I think the English community is kind of in translation. You know, our brain auto completes it to farm, which is the closest English word. But I want to see what she gets named in the global version, because farm is a bad name. I'm just going to say it. It's a bad name. Anyway, water elemental character, 4 move, 3 jump, is already incredibly strong. Ninja, samurai, and ranger are her jobs. She is a 90 class, and unlike Summer Lilith, she is a permanent character. You do not need to worry. This character will be available from, for instance, select tickets in the future. So there you go. Getting in to it, let's talk about her TMR first of all. TMR here is a piece of clothing, 320 HP, 10 accuracy, 15 evade. Not a bad piece of evade equipment, if I do say so myself. And I did say so myself. And that also goes with her master ability, which gives her an evasion rate of 5 and a defense penetration of 15. Of course, she is a physical-based character, so a lot of the times you're going to need bells, so that might be a problem for going with her TMR. But this also gives her a spirit increase for herself and allies surrounding her, and increased spirit debuff resistance by 50 for 3 turns. So those are actually pretty nice here. Just because, like, it's obviously protecting her against magic, which does have a fair number of sure shots, so she might be actually okay against magic. 100% sure. But if she can evade physical and do well against magic, I think she'll be okay. And we're going to talk about her stats in a minute, but let's show off her limit burst, which is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Really love the look of this thing. I got to give it a hand to the limit burst makers, who are doing a fantastic job making these limit bursts look great. So this thing is a pretty powerful limit burst. Decrease water resistance for a single target by 25% for 3 turns. Of course, the regular mod of 200% when fully maxed, and a 67% chance to paralyze. Very strong follow-up for water units. I mean, if you're essentially going to paralyze a unit, 67% is a pretty darn high chance of doing that. But yeah, this is just a really good limit burst for water, and I think she'll have a nice future synergizing with someone like Titus, or maybe even other units too. I don't think it necessarily has to be Titus. So let's jump over here really quickly, because we're going to take a look at her stats while we talk about her resistances and whatnot. So let's just get in here. Actually, this is not the best one. I want to head down to Team 16, just to kind of show her in more of a physical team-based setting, see what her stats end up looking like. As you can see, she is partnered with Odin and the Ifrit card. So here are her stats, roughly about 5,800 HP, 1,400 attack, 111 speed, which is really nice, although the Hermes Sandals is there. 307 for dexterity, and luck 361, which is pretty nice for an evade unit. Passives that she is running and move and jump +1 from Ninja, giving her a 5 and 4 in terms of mobility. Pretty damn high, I will have to say. And quickness up as well as luck up for the passives that she is running, which makes sense. She is a ninja. And here are her resistances really quickly. Slash and Pierce are a little bit concerning for her, but she does have pretty nice against Strike, shooting, and magic with this build, kind of giving you an idea of where her basic resistances are. So let's get into it. Ranger overall does have options to some nice stuff, such as poison, decreasing all element resistance for herself, for giving an evasion buff, and a pretty big evasion, 55 for one single turn, and with the others, yeah, she has a pretty good chance of being evaded. Ranger also gives her a 100% hit chance, and obviously range against other enemies. She has a 185% modifier that does have casting time, and she does have a chance to inflict immobilize, which could be beneficial for her. Ranger doesn't seem like a bad thing to run. I'm not 100% convinced what you should be running, but I do think it's pretty good. Samurai, it's essentially Samurai. It also has an evasion buff, although smaller, but for more turns, 3 turns, with a 25% buff for herself and others around her. Might be the only reason you run Samurai. Her with evade does, unlike Tifa, which was kind of an evadey character when we first saw it, this one seems to be more on the following through just because of master ability, PMR, and self buffs. She might actually have enough here to support it. I would still like to see another piece of equipment, a newer piece of equipment that can boost evasion, but there is enough here for it to be notable, if nothing else. Looking at her main job, this is where the really interesting stuff, including the ability that we got to talk about is her first ability, Shuriken, a very common ability for ninjas in this game. However, its effect is quite more interesting when she gets into her EX. So first of all, I know that on the global side, a lot of people have been hyped up on Zazen, saying he's unkillable. Well, here's your damn counter. Shuriken gets upgraded into her EX to have not only does it deal damage and decrease accuracy by 30 for 3 turns to a target, it completely dispels any ignore fatal damage for the target and dispels auto revive for the target. So Guts or the Paladin take fatal damage and still survive is completely cancelled, but also auto revive is specifically as well targeted for removal. So Shuriken essentially removes both of these, and this is quite a thing. Re-raise is not an ability that most units have access to more than once, and so this right here essentially devalues a incredible amount the re-raise status effect, but Guts as well. And it may be just good enough for this unit to be really run into the future. Between that and her limit burst, I think that's pretty strong. She also has decreased chance to be targeted, a chance to inflict stop. She has the chaining ability, which is pretty nice for partnering with someone like Titus, for example. She has the critical hit ability. She has increased her evasion by 60 for a single turn. Now, the one thing I should say is that damage 1 also gets upgraded into her EX. The 121 with a 20% critical chance also decreases defense and spirit by 30 for 3 turns to the target. So she's pretty good at getting around what keeps units alive. She's essentially a unit that could go in first, remove those buffs, and then let your other units come in and mop stuff up while she potentially just is a target and people just constantly miss, because that's essentially what you're wanting with evasion or banking on. The other thing that I think is really noteworthy is her job level 25, which increases accuracy for herself and units around her by 30, AoE resistance by 15, and magic resistance by 20%, but only for herself, where the other two are buffs for her allies. I have to say that I don't think I really like this. It gives her another way to generate AP, but for a job level 25 ability, this feels pretty mediocre. It's not even like a big AoE, it's just directly in front, behind, to the left and right of her. I have to say that it's probably the most disappointing part of her kit, just because it for like getting to level 120, it just doesn't feel that important. But hey, maybe that's good news. Maybe you just get her, you just really need to focus on getting her to EX and getting that Shuriken upgrade, and that's good enough. But overall, I think that Faramir is very powerful, if for nothing else than as a permanent addition to the game that checks Guts abilities as well as re-raise abilities to keep them from getting too strong, and potentially offer global players a beacon of light in the future if you're incredibly frustrated playing against Zazen. This unit is very interesting, and I think she will probably, you know, if she, right now on the JP side with the beach units, maybe she's not getting as much attention, but there's really a lot here. Overall, Summer Lilith, I would give a A-. I just, you know, there isn't really, I'm just going to double check. There really isn't a lot of missile support for Earth units. However, with the new Earth Vision card that came with Oberyn for the Deer, the Human Killer does push Lilith into a stronger bracket. But in terms of Earth as a elemental damage dealing class, it's kind of all over the place for weapon types, and here comes another one. So yeah, I think that Summer Lilith is really good, but I would like a little more synergy before I give her the highest. In terms of farm, I think that she is very, very powerful. But as always, evasion is a little dubious, but that removal of re-raise is just always going to be noteworthy into the future, especially on an ability that is so accessible and doesn't use that much AP. It's just really strong. So yeah, farm and Summer Lilith, gotta give them a big old round of applause. Two really great ones to start it off. And in the next video, we'll take a look at Summer Ketone as well as Summer Hayward. Anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you in the next video.